Hi, this is John Rosen, head of Torah and Psychotherapy. This week's Torah and Psychology post of Bereishis is titled Creating a New Life. Because in this week's Parsha we read about Bereishis and the creation of the world, and there's a pasuk that describes what was there before the world was created. And the Medrash explains this pasuk to explain that it describes the four different exiles, the golus that the Bnei Yisrael went through. The Haaretz Haisa So relates to the first exile at Bavel. Vavo is Madai, the Choshech is Yavan, Al Pnei Taham is the fourth exile that we are still in, we are still suffering from, is the Golus of Edom. And this relates to the four different exiles that the Bnei Yisrael will have gone through. They've been in Golus, they've come out, they've gone into Golus again, and this can depict a national but also an individual process of suffering and difficulty, of being in hardship, of being in Golus and coming out. And I think it's very important that the Medrash brings us is one of the first psukim in the Torah before the creation of the world, because we can use the creation of the world, the days of creation, as an indication of how to get out of Golus, how to get out of our individual personal struggle and darkness and difficulties. We can use this as the blueprint of the creation of the world for our own creating our new life. So let's have a look. As an extended metaphor, we can use the creation of the world for psychological insight. So the first day, there is light. There's a separation between light and darkness, and that's what a person needs. When they're in darkness, when they're in deep depression and difficulty, they need that glimmer of hope, that little bit of light to hold on to use as a direction to separate from light and dark. And this relates to the Medrash in Tehillim that says, "Ilule yashavti b'choshech lo haya oli," that if I hadn't sat in darkness, I wouldn't have light. That this separation helps us to appreciate the ability to come out of darkness and to sit in the light. Secondly, we have in the second and third day, we have the sky and the separation between the dry land and the seas. And we see this is a creation, and the Torah describes a creation of boundaries. And this is vital in terms of psychological functioning, that the person has healthy boundaries, especially in abusive relationships, that there is a healthy boundary, and that a person there's a clear distinction between one person and their character and their personality and their individuality, and there's a healthy distinction between another person. And through this, there can be growth and development. As the pasuk describes, at this point, there was the potential for the growth of trees and plants in the world. Next, the fourth day, there's the luminaries, the stars, the planets, the sun, the moon, and this is the vital for creating a sense of order and structure, and it's creating the structure of seasons in the world. That there's different times, and in terms of therapy and stability in therapy, it's important that a person creates a schedule, that they set specific times for things in their day, and that they're able to schedule their life, and they know that they have a plan, they have goals, they have, in terms of the stars, that can mean a sense of targets and goals and plans, and that they set for themselves in their life. Next is the creation of the creatures in the sky and deep in the water. And here we have a sense of development in the creation of the world. That there's now animals, but they are either high above us or deep below us. Maybe we don't see this development, this progress, but there's movement now. And hopefully this potential is going to start to materialize. And that's what we see now in the sixth day, when the animals on the land are created, and the creation of man. This potential, this growth, this movement, this development that we see in the world with creatures and life is now seen on land. It starts to materialize. It's something that's attainable and something that we can see. And especially now with the creation of man, with the neshama, this new world is starting to be created. Man can start to walk on this world. We, as we come out of our struggles and our difficulties, can start to walk and live in this new world that we are creating for ourselves. And there is a sense of mastery and control over our surroundings, over this new world that we are developing and creating. And finally, in the last day, the seventh day of Shabbos, Shabbos is the day of rest. Shabbos is the day of completion. And this perhaps is the end of this therapeutic process, where there's a sense of completion. We now are moving out of the difficulties and the struggles, and we have a sense of peace and serenity and completion to the new world that we have created. And in terms of psychology and therapy, there's the approach of mindfulness. And Shabbos is also an analogy for mindfulness, because mindfulness teaches you to be rather than to do, to allow thoughts and sounds and our sensory experiences just to be, to connect with them, but not to interact with them. To be rather than to do. It's not a time of action, it's a time of rest. It's a time of awareness. And this is Shabbos, when we stop working. It's a day where we're in a state of being rather than doing. So we see here we've got the days of creation. Each stage is a gradual process of helping us to get out of the golus, out of our difficulty and the struggle that we are experiencing. And hopefully we can use this as psychological insight and tools to be able to create a new life for ourselves, a new beginning. Have a great Shabbos and keep well.